Hi guys, it's Isa. Today I'm here with a collection of fantasy books that I believe are perfect for spring. So I'm such a mood reader, and when the seasons change I also tend to pick different set of books. This list of books will be books that are either kind of a quest oriented, kind of like a change, growth kind of mindset, or that they are very whimsical, that has this kind of fairy tale vibe to it. And all of these environments won't be, like super snowy or super wintry, neither super hot. It's just gonna be like lush environments. The first one is Caraval. This is a YA fantasy series. It's concluded. It has three books. The setting, it's mainly kind of like this very whimsical world where there is a circus going on and magic resides there. In terms of tropes, we will be having kind of like the chosen one and a lot of slow burn also to it, and it's actually very plot driven but with great characters. It will be following two sisters. They have been very mistreated all of their lives and they really want to get into Caraval. Caraval is this kind of circus event that happens every now and one day they receive an invitation to get there. However, upon arriving, one of these sisters will be kidnapped and the whole Caraval game will be turned into a game with the sole purpose of finding this sister. Everyone will be receiving different clues that our protagonist will need to follow in order to find her sister, because if she's not able to find her before the end of Caraval, the sister will be killed. This is a story full of whimsical. The different settings are really kind of like lushy, they are fantastic. Then we change gears a little bit with The Daughter of the Moon Goddess, a new release of this year. In terms of setting, this will be kind of like a Chinese inspired story. It's kind of a retelling, and we will be following the main character throughout this world, and we will be seeing the most amazing situations and the most amazing settings, like from very lushy gardens towards a city in heaven, towards like a cave with dragons. It really has it all. In terms of tropes, it will be kind of like a chosen one, it will be also a quest, and it will also be kind of like a little bit of a love triangle. It's very plot driven, although we will be following our main character throughout different stages of her life, so we can also grasp a little bit of the depth of the character and how she grows throughout this time, but it's not, super deep into the character. This story will be start with our girl who is the daughter of the moon goddess, and it seems that this goddess has been hiding this girl all of her life because she was not supposed to have her.
She is kind of like the result of this forbidden love.
And she has a lot of power. She has been concealing this power all of her life, but one day she just doesn't conceal it anymore, and this triggers a set of events that puts her on the flee. So from that point onwards, our main character will have like as her main mission to go and save and free her mom. But in order to do so, she will need to do a lot of different stuff. She will need to kind of find her place within this heaven world. She will also need to train herself, become a warrior, and gain the favor of all this land if she wants to do so. Then we have the Song of Achilles, which is set in this Greek environment, and we will be following the story of Achilles, but told under the point of view of Patroclus. As a result, this will be a very character-driven story, and the main tropes will be kind of a quest, but not a traditional quest. It will be more of a quest with the fate, and we will be having this chosen one, this forbidden love, and this slow burn magic in this story. And we will be following both Achilles and Patroclus as they are children, and we will be having this grown-up story on how the relationship between the two just kind of like creates, solidifies, and we will be seeing how Patroclus just adores Achilles and how Achilles will need to fight, to find his fate and decide if he is willing to trade his life for the fate that it was promised to him. This is kind of an emotional book. It's beautiful, but at the same time, it will make you cry, so be aware of that. Another book that made me cry, and in here we have this a very, 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 very whimsical story set in this world where people have forgotten that a city called Weep existed. This city is kind of Atlantia, so you can imagine how magical and how whimsical the city is. And in terms of tropes, we will be having kind of like a chosen one, a quest, and it's as well, and it touches some very dark themes as the story progresses, but overall it's a beautiful, beautiful story of change, of growing up, and I really, really recommend. We will be following two main characters. The first one is Laszlo. Against everyone's belief, he always has thought that Weep existed, and he has been learning about it, and one day when people from Weep comes seeking help, he's the one going there trying to figure out how to help these people face a terrible problem. Moment in which we find the second point of view, which I won't unveil much, but it's one of the characters that has magic, and the story between the two will start to blend. It's very kind of happy, but at the same time it has also kind of like these sad moments. It's kind of a spring. We continue with a story that it's a very cozy, that it's a very whimsical, and that is Six Crimson Cranes. In terms of setting, is this Asian inspired environment when we will be having gardens and we will be traveling throughout the land. Eventually we will see some winter mountains, but it's not the main theme. In terms of tropes, we will be having again a quest, a grown-up story, and a little bit of a chosen one. And we will be following our main girl as she has all of her life concealed her magic, and one day she cannot do that anymore, and as a result she and her brothers are cursed. Her brothers are turned into cranes, and she is cursed with the inability to talk, because for every word that she speaks, one of her brothers will be killed. We continue now with Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is a standalone, so I think it's a very good moment if you're planning to get into Brandon Sanderson to get into it. And it has kind of like this lighter tone, right? Like it has this beautiful, colorful magic in here besides around colors and about breaths. In terms of tropes, there's a little bit of a chosen one, but same as a grown-up story of finding your fate and just changing who you are. And we will be following two sisters. Each of these sisters had kind of like a predetermined fate. The older one was always fated to be wed to this godlike king that is in the neighbor kingdom. The younger sister was just
More carefree, she wasn't really doing anything.
but when the moment comes of this older sister to get wed to this godlike king, their dad decides to instead trade away the younger sister and change their fates. So now the younger sister is like, wait, what? And she is just going to the city to find this very powerful being that everyone avoids, and it's supposed to be the most magical, powerful being of them all. Instead, the older sister it's now like, I don't have a purpose anymore, and she decides to go and save her sister and, infiltrate into the city and see what she can do to steal her sister but prevent the war that it's supposed to create. In this story, though, there's a very large component of gods, of magic that resides through colors, and a very political story as well, because in this city, the gods are in the flesh. It's people that when dying, they died really heroically and they have come back from the dead and they are now gods. And we will be following the story of one of them that it's hilarious. He is just one of the most powerful gods out there, but he doesn't really believe that he is a god. He just is like, why are you adoring me? And he will play a role with these sisters, and it's upon these gods to also decide if the war should happen or not. I really loved it. Look at these. And we conclude this recommendation list with The Shadow of What Was Lost. This is a little bit more heavy than the rest of the books. It's a trilogy, it's a little bit chunky, but the theme is just so fantastic. It's a little bit like The Lord of the Rings finds Brandon Sanderson. I think that's kind of like the best way in which I can explain it. It's a quest at its core, and it's a chosen one and a growing up story. We will be having different points of view, but mainly the story will talk about these lands where a little bit long ago they were ruled by a godlike creatures called the Augurus. These creatures were able to see the future, to read people, and as a result, they were the ones in power.
However, it seems that one day their powers started to fail. They kind of like shush it and kept it from themselves.
The people discovered it and they were thrown away, they were overruled. It seems though that there were people that were working for them that also have a little bit of magic, but not as much of these Augurus, and they are called the Gifted, able to survive this revolution because they very early on were kind of enslaved, and they now are kind of branded, so they live under a set of tenets that inhabilitates them to create a lot of magic or to harm people. We will start our story with our main character who is a gifted, and he is kind of in this point where they is supposed to pass some trials in order to become kind of like a full gifted person. However, he has a little bit more power than it seems, and he will be trigger a set of events that will put everyone in danger, and that it will change the scales massively. It's really interesting. The magic, it's fantastic, and again, it's such a blend. It's character but plot driven, and I just love it. And that was it for today. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one, and I hope to see you real soon. Happy reading!